Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are, it is right now. You are right here. My name is Manuel, and it's my pleasure to welcome you. Today is day 25 of the show, and I have to congratulate you for making the best decision of the day to spend some time with me. Let's get started. No preamble, no long introduction. Let me just say it plainly. Jasmine Crockett is cooked. She's not struggling. She's not facing a rough patch. She is cooked. Cooked. This broad, Jasmine Crockett, had a near guaranteed seat in the House. She was cruising to re-election, basically. Safe, secure, comfortable re-election. And she walked away from it. Why? Because she believed the hype. Because someone convinced her she was bigger than she is. Pretty sure that someone was herself. Because she thought cable news clips and viral TikTok videos are actual real-world electoral math. And now, she's cooked. Let me lay it out for you. She decided to roll the dice on a Senate run in Texas. Texas! Come on. Against a Republican machine that has not broken in decades. Now look, to be fair, it's true the Republicans are fighting a little bit amongst themselves down in Texas. You have the incumbent and well-known anti-MAGA Senator John Cornyn, who refuses to let go, as well as Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and rising star Congressman Wesley Hunt. They're all fighting it out for the nomination right now. But a little Republican infighting doesn't magically turn Texas into Massachusetts. Then along comes Texas State Representative Democrat James Talarico. He apparently didn't get the message about how great Jasmine Crockett says she is. Let's look at good old James, shall we? He's measured. He's calm. He's church-going. And as much of a contradiction as this is to what I just said about him, he's also a progressive. And you know what might be most refreshing to a lot of weary Democrats right about now? He doesn't sound like he's trying to set the building on fire every time he opens his mouth. The polling, up until this past week, was competitive, though most of the polls seem to give Jasmine the edge over Talarico. A little bit of an edge. But, as they say, fate intervened, and he was scheduled for the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Now, I don't want to insult anyone's intelligence, okay? Colbert clearly has preferences. Of course he does. And it's pretty obvious in this case, all right? And let me say for the record, I would never accuse him of disliking or not preferring Jasmine Crockett because she's a woman or black. I would not do that. I'm not saying that about Stephen Colbert. All right, back to the story around Talarico's appearance or semi-canceled appearance on The Late Show. You see, CBS, they say, got nervous about the optics and about getting in trouble with the FCC. So they suggested to Colbert a few things that he might do to fix this, including giving equal time to Jasmine Crockett. Nope. Colbert wasn't having any of that. So the segment gets yanked. And now, of course, Colbert plays the martyr. He is the victim of FCC and Trump administration oppression. Okay. Whatever you say, Stephen. But that's not the twist. Here's the twist. And this is the part that really makes Jasmine nervous. The interview that didn't get aired, it drops online and gets 5 million views. 5 million. That's not a niche audience. That's momentum. You know what that is? That's a donors list lighting up like it's Christmas and the 4th of July all rolled into one. And now, suddenly the narrative shifts. Now, Queen Jasmine, who was supposed to be the rising star, the future of the party, looks like the candidate of noise, while Talarico looks like the candidate of competence. And here's the brutal truth. Jasmine, she built her brand exactly on this. On viral clips, on being the loudest voice in the room, on flamethrowers. That works right up until it doesn't. Because eventually voters, they start asking themselves, is this really leadership or is this chaos? And when everything that goes wrong for her, right? When things go wrong for her, each time she blames it on either racism, misogyny, oppression, conspiracy, a combination of all those. After doing that nonstop, eventually even her own side got tired of it. They got tired of it. At some point, Democrats quietly started to think to themselves, maybe it's not racism. Maybe it's just her. And that's where she is right now. She bet her career on the idea that her media presence equals statewide electability. It doesn't. Texas Democrats say every cycle, this is the year that Texas is turning blue. It hasn't happened. And now, if I were to bet, I'd bet she doesn't even make it out of her own primary. You know what that is? You know what all this demonstrates? This is an illustration of ego outrunning math. This is what happens when you start believing your own self-aggrandizing propaganda. She gave up an almost sure thing for a long shot, except somehow she didn't notice it was a long shot. And now, the long shot is looking longer by the day. Jasmine Crockett is cooked. Cooked, I say. And the lesson, it isn't about CBS. It isn't about the FCC. It's not even about Stephen Colbert. It's about what happens when ambition outruns reality. All right. That's enough for today. We'll continue tomorrow. And as always, be useful.